Hey guys, how's it going? It is Care here with another Diablo Immortal video, and in today's video I want to talk about why you are 66% weaker in PvP. What's going on here is Damia here on Reddit actually did a ton of testing, and I wanted to share this information with you guys because I think this is actually really important and will help you understand what is actually going on behind the scenes in PvP. So essentially what is going on here is the strife debuff that you get in PvP. You'll see it up here. Whenever you're in a PvP match, you can just check up here and you'll see strife. That's what he's talking about there. That debuff, that actually affects you in quite an impactful way. And this is including nerfed in PvP, including Battlegrounds and Vault. Ran a lot of tests to figure out, safely say the direction is 66%. What that means is anytime you have strife buff showing your stats as reduced in PvP environment, your legendary gems, magic effects on gear, bonuses from other sources, think resonating bonuses and family bonuses, all 1/3 as powerful in this situation. So if we go back to the character here, that means any one of my legendary gems is all 1/3 as strong. So for example, instead of 13.5%, it's only 1/3 of that. If you had like your Berserker's Eye, whatever, like the damage from your Seeping Bile, my Bottled Hope, all that stuff is only doing 1/3 the amount of the percentage damage bonus. If you go to the magic affixes of your gear, see I have item-based damage increased by 4.5. That's actually reduced by to 1/3. Same with these effects here. The same effects. All of these effects are all reduced by 1/3. Also, if you scroll down to these bonus affixes, these are also decreased by 1/3. And I think that's really important to highlight because I think a lot of people are going for these PvP stats where you get like PvP damage to players, or you get more PvP damage, for example, or damage reduction. In PvP environments, but it's reduced by 1/3 in all these scenarios. So all these things are getting taken down by a lot. So what does that mean for you? And essentially what it means is it boosts the viability. Unfortunately, this is kind of like the bummer part of this information, is it boosts the viability of all these other gems. Like I would say Phoenix Ashes is not that great of a gem, but because it's a 5-star gem and it gives high combat rating and high resonance, it actually is pretty good because the resonance bonus doesn't get reduced. So it actually means that the effect of the gem is reduced, but the raw stat bonus is increased. So certain gems that are not nearly as good, because I think there's a lot of 1-star gems and 2-star gems that in a vacuum are way better than 5-star gems. But then when you factor in the combat rating and the resonance, then you kind of have an argument between the 5-star gems and the 2-star gems and the base 1-star gems. Like for example, Berserker's Eye and Unrelenting Torment, I think are both amazing in that sense. Power and Command is really good. Bloody Reach, all really good. I feel like if those were 5-star gems, you would only see those. You wouldn't even see a lot of these other 5-star gems that actually exist. But we have to take in the raw stat bonus that you get from these 5-star gems as well. So it means that they get a lot of play. But then even more so in PvP, because if you're going to reduce, for example, let's say you had a max Bloody Reach, that's 24% damage. That's now decreased to only 8% damage. And so you're getting lower combat rating, you're getting lower resonance, and you're getting lower attack percentage. So of course I'm just going to equip like a Phoenix Ashes here, or maybe in a Howler's Call, even though these effects are not as good as the natural 2-star or natural 1-star effect. Like I would rather take the 16% damage bonus of a maxed Berserker's Eye, for example, over something like this in Howler's Call. But when you factor in the amount of resonance and combat rating you get just in the normal things, then I'll take Howler's Call. And then even more so if you're going to be reducing the damage done by the gem in PvP as well. So it just kind of makes everything very, raw stat based over the actual effect. Because before I knew this, I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll go for a Bloody Reach instead of like a Phoenix Ashes on a Demon Hunter. But now that I know that it reduces it so much, it's just totally not worth it for me. And for a lot of people, in my opinion. If you happen to pull these 5-star gems, like as a free-to-play light spender, definitely take advantage of the extra combo rating and resonance you get, because I think that's going to increase your stats a ton. Also, I think when it comes to the Reforge system, so when it comes to the Reforge system here, there's all these different, and some of these, if they're going to reduce in PvP, but there's no caps in PvE, then I would focus more on things that are going to work in both, because you're getting not that much value. Because if you're focusing on pure PvP stuff, you're not getting any value in PvE, obviously. But now that it's reduced even more, you're getting even less benefit, and you get nothing in PvE. So I think that's going to really benefit stuff like Wildfire set, because you're getting all of this attack damage, skill damage, and critical hit damage. All of this is good everywhere in the game. But if you're going to reduce it by a third, at least I have something. Whereas, let's find one. I think these resistances here, I think are probably pretty good. If there's like a fear resistance, I would totally go with that because the amount of necromancers that have fear, I'd still probably want to do that. But damage taken from players reduced. So even if you hit the max roll 1% and you can get one of these on all of them, so that's 6%, you only have 2% damage reduced when you're in PvP. So you're telling me I would have to do that on all of them, or I could just take Wildfire set and get a ton of critical hit damage, and then I actually notice that in PvE, and then in PvP I still get a ton of critical hit damage. It's just reduced. So it's kind of a bummer realization here, but at the same time, I want you guys to know because this is actually really impactful, and it's really going to make me reconsider a lot of the potential things you can get in the family bonuses here, because it takes a ton of resources to do this. So you really want to know all the information you possibly can before you really invest in these sets here with your Reforge stones, because you only get a finite amount of those every time like a cycle changes in PvP, because you get a ton of them when it changes, when like the immortals change after the battlegrounds resets. And then lastly, the thing that doesn't reset, it makes that even better now and more important, is going to be your set items. So these don't change. These are actually not going to be reduced by that 1/3. So then it really benefits you to make sure you have the 4-piece set or whatever. You know, if you're struggling for motivation to be able to farm these sets, I made a video talking about how trash they are and how to farm these because the drop rates are so bad. I highly recommend going for these, especially if you're a PvPer, because it's such a big deal that these don't actually get reduced by that 33% or 66% nerf. And the one that I've been really liking, if you're a melee class, I highly recommend it, is going to be this Montbanks set here. I think this is actually really good. So each time you take damage, 20% chance to gain a shield that absorbs 13% of your maximum life. Then the shield absorption increases to 33% at 4-piece, and then that's probably going to be where it's going to cap for a while, but eventually becomes like a Blessing of the Worthy effect. The legendary gem, your shield has a 25% chance to expire when it explodes for 40% of your maximum life in damage. And then the last thing I really like about this is that most of these have a 20-second internal cooldown, whereas this one only has a 9-second cooldown, which is also really nice. So I've been enjoying this a lot, even though this carried over from my Barb over to the Demon Hunter. I'm still a fan of it, even though I think I'm going to probably actually go Vithu's Urges. I think this is actually a really good set, even for a Demon Hunter, because you get the increased beneficial effects on your Vengeance, and then you also get the attack speed boost that you would get, same on the one that increases your primary attack damage. That's another good one, I think, for Demon Hunter. But having this combination here where all my buffs are actually extended, and then I get the same attack speed boost, I think is actually pretty cool. But that's definitely deserves its own video beside the point. But I think this is something that is really important to understand going forward, and it's going to affect how you decide to do your legendary gems, how you do your Reforge stones, all these really impactful things. It's unfortunate that it's so hard to find, and it took so much testing from this guy on Reddit here to be able to find this. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys, and